Hey everyone, this is Josh here with Invest with Matt, and I wanted to do a short on what I think might happen tomorrow at the Robinhood Summit, which I will be attending. So I'll try to put out some content. If nothing else, I will share updates, videos, pictures, whatever happens and that goes on there. I will be more than happy to give everyone kind of a view of the day and the following day at the summit. So I do want to share the price action. So Hood did get included into the S&P 500. You can see it here, a huge day today. I did some calls right at open. I had calls from yesterday. I had shares from yesterday. I made a lot of money off of that. I did not know they were going to be included. I honestly didn't think they would be included, which is partially why I had calls. Because I think the expectations the last few times that they've added companies was that Hood would be one of them. And then now, this past week, everybody was kind of down on that idea. It seemed like a time that could actually finally occur, like when people aren't expecting it to happen. And that's typically how it goes in the market. If everybody expects it to happen and it doesn't happen, when people kind of sour on an idea, that's exactly when you do need to get into it. I also had it on just because of the Hood Summit, in case anything came out of that. And we know that metrics are going to come out later this week or early next week for August. And I have a pretty good idea that those are going to be an absolute smash. So I took the opportunity to get some calls, and it just so happened to work out that Hood got included. Go figure. So right now I'm just sitting in shares here. I do have them covered at like 125. Um, I think the other important thing is the summit. No one really knows what they're going to do. I think the last few times that they've had these types of events, like for the crypto, like we kind of knew it was coming with Ethereum being in town. I did a video on that, expecting that tokenization was probably going to be announced, and it was. And it wasn't just announced; they actually rolled it out, which was crazy. This is an active trader show, so I think a lot of it will be geared towards Legend. Um, Futures last year was announced. We knew that was coming. This year's a little different. I don't think that anyone really knows what to expect other than the people hosting the event themselves, Vlad and team. Um, my suspicion, though, is that we could see now today, and this could be a coincidence. I'm sure it is a coincidence. The NASDAQ actually filed to allow securities to be traded on chain at the NASDAQ. Why is that important? Well, Hood is already doing this in the EU, but to have the NASDAQ itself actually support this move towards tokenization, I think we might see some more stuff at the active trader event around this. I also think we'll get more insights into their AI that they have, Cortex. And maybe we'll get some more tools related to that that could be good. I think we maybe get a full rollout of Cortex at some point. I doubt they talk about banking. We do know that's coming at the end of the month. That's not really a trader type thing. So my guesses would be it's some kind of trading related item, obviously, because it's the trader active trader event. And my suspicion is it's going to be tokenization related and it'll be AI related. Two very buzzy words right now. I think it's a perfect thing to go after. I'm super excited about tokenization. You can go look at all of my videos on YouTube at Invest with Meh, for the main reason being margin. Margin on crypto assets for them is significantly higher, like an order of magnitude higher than equities and options are. And if they can somehow manage to get equities and options on chain to get a higher take rate via cutting, you wouldn't see the fees yourself. So they would be cutting out the exchanges and the middlemen that they have to pay off to route their orders. If they take those people out of the equation, then they can charge a higher rate directly to you. Um, and you would see that similarly, they would just take more of that margin to their bottom line that they're not taking now because that's going to someone else who's filling their orders that they're routing. So I think payment for order flow that could potentially go away, and that was a big red flag and a black eye for Robinhood for a long time. People didn't like payment for order flow. So if that goes out the window, I really don't know what the haters will have to complain about. So that's my take. I think we're going to see tokenization. I don't know if we're going to get a timeline or rollout in the US. And I don't know necessarily that it'll be options and equities. My guess would be they start with equities and then at some point you would move to options contracts too. But with the NASDAQ looking at securities to start with, I think that is a good place to look for some kind of groundbreaking news coming out of Robinhood in the US specifically. Um, and I think they'll start with the major stocks like in the US and ETFs. I'm also curious to see, and this is a little bit further out there, is a marketplace. Now, right now, there's no real good marketplace that I know of to do just trading of tokenized securities. So, not just stocks, think other things, think like physical things that you could trade with someone or sell pieces of to people and share ownership of that item. That's the world we're moving to with blockchain. I actually have, let me see. So imagine that I could tokenize this. It's roughly 2,500 bucks, I think, on the open market for this card. And I could sell what would be akin to shares for this. So I could sell a piece of this to you. Now, it would still be in my possession, but technically you would own part of it. So the value of this went up on the open market. You could sell your piece that would now be worth more to someone else. Now, you don't actually have to hold or own this. It's very much like a security certificate for a stock. Now, that idea can apply to literally everything in the world, cars, books, whatever you want, artwork. This is a market that has existed for as long as time, probably since before the stock market itself, right? I mean, valuables and items that hold value have always been traded, exchanged between people, long before companies were. And I think this is where we're going. It would be really, really cool if Robinhood somehow, and I know it's not really, you know, necessarily in their wheelhouse because they're, when you think finance, you don't think things like this. I don't know, private equity is another thing, but that's still companies, right? You're not trading valuable items. It would be really cool if Robinhood could create a Robinhood marketplace, similar to how Facebook has a Facebook marketplace, which is the huge reason why people still use Facebook. Like Facebook marketplace to some degree kind of saved Facebook. I mean, everyone I know gets on marketplace, even if they don't use it for anything else. Now imagine you had Robinhood marketplace for tokenized items. And I know they tried to do this during the ETF, not ETF, the NFT, which is kind of the same idea, right? Robinhood didn't, but there were other exchanges for NFTs where you could buy and trade NFTs. But those were not on like real world items that people hold. And I think that's more doable. And if Robinhood, and it's not really active trader, I don't expect this to come out of this event. I really think it's probably just AI and then maybe tokenized securities. But I'm just throwing this idea in there because I think it's a really cool idea. Glad if you're listening. A Robinhood marketplace on chain where you can sell pieces of things you own that are verified. I don't know how you would have to verify them and then put them on chain as a verified item. You'd probably have to show that you still have ownership every so often. But to be able to get equity out of things you own while you hold them, especially in liquid markets like that are very popular for very popular items where things are traded and sold every day, I think that's a really good idea. And beyond that, and still not trader related, sorry, I've gone on a tangent, would be like insurance, mortgages, those types of things. It would be really cool if you could get equity out of your home on chain instantaneously, within 30 minutes. If you could just have someone verify, your ownership of the property, once it's on chain, at any point, you don't have to take the equity out, but it's there. You could sell a piece of your home to some property company, property management company, and get that equity out and do it immediately instead of having to go through some 30-day process to get it done. Anyway, those are my thoughts of what's coming up. I'm super excited to be there. I'm starting with the SIBO day one at 12. I'm a luncheon that I got invited to. Um, free food and free alcohol, so you can't say no to that. So I'll be there for that. It's from 12 to 3 Pacific time. So that would be 3 to 6 on tomorrow. I get in at like 9 a.m. I have to get up at like 3 in the morning to catch the flight. So I'll be there. I'll let you know. I'll probably do a short video after that just to see what I hear from them. It's specifically on the options market. If they don't talk about it and they do a Q&A, I'm definitely going to ask them about, and if they allow me to um, ask about tokenization of options contracts. Because again, it's just a contract between two people. This is definitely something that could be put on chain one day um, and made more efficient. In the same manner of how they're doing equities in the EU right now. Anyways, that's all I got for today. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Take it easy. See ya.